And it is my job, my responsibility as an astronomer, to remind people that alien hypotheses should always be a last resort. Now, I want to tell you a story about that. It involves data from a NASA mission, ordinary people, and one of the most extraordinary stars in our galaxy. We began in 2009 with the launch of NASA's Kepler mission. Kepler's main scientific objective was to find planets outside of our solar system. It did this by staring at a single field in the sky, this one with all the tiny boxes. And in this one field, it monitored the brightness of over 150,000 stars continuously for 4 years, taking a data point every 30 minutes. It was looking for what astronomers call a transit. This is when the planet's orbit is aligned in our line of sight, just so that the planet crosses in front of a star. And when this happens, it blocks out a tiny bit of starlight, which you can see as a dip in this curve. And so the team at NASA had developed very sophisticated computers to search for transits in all the Kepler data. At the same time of the first data release, astronomers at Yale were wondering an interesting thing. What if computers miss something? And so we launched the citizen science project called Planet Hunters to have people look at the same data. The human brain has an amazing ability for pattern recognition, sometimes even better than a computer. However, there was a lot of skepticism around this. My colleague, Deborah Fisher, founder of the Planet Hunters project, said that people at the time were saying, "You're crazy. There's no way that a computer will miss a signal." And so it was on, the classic human versus machine gamble. And if we found one planet, we would be thrilled. When I joined the team 4 years ago, we had already found a couple. And today, with the help of over 300,000 science enthusiasts, we have found dozens. And we've also found one of the most mysterious stars in our galaxy. So to understand this, let me show you what a normal transit in Kepler data looks like. On this graph, on the left-hand side, you have the amount of light, and on the bottom is time. The white line is the light just from the star, what astronomers call a light curve. Now, when a planet transits a star, it blocks out a little bit of this light, and the depth of this transit reflects the size of the object itself. And so, for example, let's take Jupiter. Planets don't get much bigger than Jupiter. Jupiter will make a 1% drop in a star's brightness. Earth, on the other hand, is 11 times smaller than Jupiter, and signal is barely visible in the data. So back to our mystery. A few years ago, Planet Hunters were sifting through data looking for transits, and they spotted a mysterious signal coming from the star KIC 8462852. The observations in May of 2009 were the first they spotted, and they started talking about this in the discussion forums. They said an object like Jupiter will make a drop like this in the star's light, but they were also saying it was giant. You see, transits normally only last for a few hours, and this one lasted for almost a week. They were also saying that it looks asymmetric, meaning that instead of the clean U-shaped dip that we saw with Jupiter, it had this strange slope that you can see on the left side. This seemed to indicate that whatever was getting in the way and blocking the starlight was not circular like a planet. There are a few more dips that happened, but for a couple of years, it was pretty quiet. And then, in March of 2011, we see this. The star's light drops by a whole 15%. And this is huge compared to a planet, which would only make a 1% drop. We describe this feature as both smooth and clean. It also is asymmetric, having a gradual dimming that lasts almost a week, and then it snaps right back up to normal in just a matter of days. And again, after this, not much happens. Until February of 2013, things start to get really crazy. There is a huge complex of dips in the light curve that appear, and they last for like 100 days, all the way up into the Kepler mission's end. These dips have variable shapes. Some are very sharp and some are broad, and they also have variable durations. Some last just for a day or two and some for more than a week. And there's also up and down trends within some of these dips, almost like several independent events were superimposed on top of each other. And at this time, this star drops in its brightness over 20%. This means that whatever is blocking its light has an area of over 1,000 times the area of our planet Earth. This is truly remarkable. And so the citizen scientists, when they saw this, they notified the science team that they found something weird enough that it might be worth following up. And so when the science team looked at it, we're like, yeah, there's probably just something wrong with the data. But we looked really, really, really hard, and the data were good. And so what was happening had to be astrophysical, meaning that something in space was getting in the way and blocking starlight. And so at this point, we set out to learn everything we could about the star to see if we could find any clues to what was going on. And the citizen scientists who helped us in this discovery, they joined along for the ride, watching science in action firsthand. First, somebody said, well, you know, what if this star was actually very young and it still had the cloud of material it was born from surrounding it? And then somebody else said, well, what if the star had already formed planets and two of these planets had collided, similar to the Earth-Moon forming event? Well, both of these theories could explain part of the data, but the difficulties were that the star showed no signs of being young, and there was no glow from any of the material that was heated up by the star's light. And you would expect this if the star was young or if there was a collision and a lot of dust was produced. And so somebody else said, well, how about a huge swarm of comets that are passing by the star in a very elliptical orbit? Well, it ends up that this is actually consistent with our observations. But I agree, it does feel a little contrived. You see, it would take hundreds of comets to reproduce what we're observing.
No, it would actually take millions of asteroids. And that is exactly what I spoke about in part 2 of my series, Earth Changes Have Started, Nibiru 2016 to 2017. Nibiru must pass through the Kuiper Belt, an asteroid field between Jupiter and Mars, before it arrives here. As it passes through, it picks up and drags millions of rocks and debris from those fields. As it comes closer to Earth, many of the asteroids will be pulled free from Nibiru's tail due to the Earth's gravity and sent crashing into Earth. That has already started, and it's only going to get worse. Indeed, at least 1 month before Nibiru is even seen in the sky, we could see mass meteor showers on a global scale. Anyway, notice how she admits it is the most viable explanation, but then she waters it down, calling it contrived.
And so we went ahead and published our findings. Now let me tell you, this was one of the hardest papers I ever wrote. Scientists are meant to publish results, and this situation was far from that. And so we decided to give it a catchy title, and we called it Where's the Flux? I will let you work out the acronym. So this isn't the end of the story. Around the same time I was writing this paper, I met with a colleague of mine, Jason Wright, and he was also writing a paper on Kepler data. And he was saying that with Kepler's extreme precision, it could actually detect alien megastructures around stars. But it didn't. And then I showed him this weird data that our citizen scientists had found. And he said to me, "Ah, crap, Tabby, now I have to rewrite my paper." So yes, the natural explanations were weak.
Or we'll determine an alternate explanation for the data that we've received so far.
And we were curious now, so we had to find a way to rule out aliens. So together, we convinced a colleague of ours who works on SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, that this would be an extraordinary target to pursue. We wrote a proposal to observe the star with the world's largest radio telescope at the Green Bank Observatory. A couple months later, news of this proposal got leaked to the press, and now there are thousands of articles, over 10,000 articles, on this star alone. And if you search Google Images, this is what you'll find. Now, you may be wondering, okay, Tabby, well, how do aliens actually explain this light curve? Okay, well, imagine a civilization that's much more advanced than our own. In this hypothetical circumstance, the civilization would have exhausted the energy supply of their home planet. So where could they get more energy? Well, they have a host star, just like we have a sun. And so if they were able to capture more energy from this star, then that would solve their energy needs. So they would go and build huge structures. These giant megastructures, like ginormous solar panels, are called Dyson spheres. Now, this image above are lots of artist impressions of Dyson spheres. It's really hard to provide perspective on the vastness of these things. But you can think of it this way. The Earth-Moon distance is 250,000 miles. The simplest element on one of these structures is 100 times that size. They're enormous. And now imagine one of these structures in motion around the star. You can see how it would produce anomalies in the data, such as uneven, unnatural-looking dips.
Or we'll determine an alternate explanation for the data that we've received so far.
Well, there you have it. We're in a situation that could unfold to be a natural phenomenon we don't understand, or an alien technology we don't understand. Personally, as a scientist, my money is on the natural explanation.
На этой неделе на небе появился новый объект, слабая красноватая точка. Пока ее наблюдают только астрономы, но уже к маю 2011 года ее можно будет увидеть и невооруженным глазом. Это темная планета, она же Нибиру, таинственная часть нашей Солнечной системы. Вероятность ее существования НАСА признала лишь в 1982 году, при том, что шумеры еще 5000 лет назад уже называли ее крылатым диском и утверждали, что появление Нибиру на небосклоне сулит одни неприятности. Какие именно, выяснил Александр Огородников.
Может ли небо упасть на Землю? Вопрос уже не актуальный. Прогрессивное человечество ждет более грандиозного события – падения на Землю другой планеты. Конечно, не в прямом смысле слова, но планета Нибиру подлетит к нам так близко, что последствия могут быть катастрофическими. Дело в том, что Нибиру, или как еще ее называют планета X, гораздо крупнее Земли, а значит, ее гравитационное поле гораздо сильнее. Его разрушительное влияние мы почувствуем в конце 2012 года, когда сближение будет максимальным. Как следствие, изменение наклона нашей планеты, а соответственно и полюсов. Глобальное похолодание, там где сейчас тепло, и очередной всемирный потоп. 2/3 населения нашей планеты попросту погибнет. Согласно одной из теорий, Нибиру — это планета богов. В древних текстах их еще называли анунаки, то есть сошедшие с небес.
Раз в 3600 лет она якобы появляется, приближается к Солнечной системе, к Земле.
Согласно некоторым расчетам, к 2011 году темную планету будет видно
5 раз пройдет по орбите в опасной близости от нашей планеты. Сила его притяжения будет настолько мощной, что Земля может поменять наклон. Если это случится, то изменившаяся ось вызовет смену магнитных полюсов. И тогда на планету обрушатся невиданные силы наводнения и извержения вулкана, сметающие все на своем пути смерчи и землетрясения. Это Захарий Ситчин, знаменитый американский ученый. В 1978 году Ситчин делает сенсационное заявление. В Солнечной системе вовсе не 9 планет, как считает официальная наука, а 10. По утверждению ученого, кроме всем известных планет, существует еще одна – Нибиру. Она блуждает в космосе по невероятно вытянутой орбите и проходит через Солнечную систему раз в 3600 лет. К теории Захария Ситчина в научном сообществе отнеслись с недоверием. Астрономы не могли поверить в то, чего не видно в космическом пространстве даже в самые мощные телескопы. Однако уже в начале 80-х, после длительных математических вычислений и построения компьютерных моделей, существование планеты Нибиру было доказано.
В 1982 году НАСА допустило существование большой планеты, которой впоследствии было дано название Нибиру.
В 2005 году американские астрофизики заявили, что на расстоянии приблизительно в 1 световой год от Земли располагается огромное космическое тело. Но главное, на огромной скорости оно приближается к нашей планете. Небесное тело настолько темное, что ни оптические телескопы, ни другие приборы не в состоянии его увидеть. Зафиксировать загадочный космический объект ученые смогли лишь 2 года назад, когда на земную орбиту вышел новый сверхмощный инфракрасный телескоп. То, что увидели астрономы на расшифрованных снимках, сделанных с телескопа, надолго повергло их в шок. В черной пустоте космического пространства четко угадывались очертания огромной планеты. Сомнений уже не оставалось. Это Нибиру.
Инфракрасный спутник, который действительно засек объект достаточно больших размеров, и ему удалось этот объект не только засечь, но и как-то зафиксировать, сфотографировать.
После изучения параметров и траектории движения гигантской планеты, ученые пришли к неутешительному выводу. Нибиру больше Земли в 5 раз. Но самое страшное, через 3 года она может пролететь в нескольких сотнях километров от Земли. Находясь так близко к нашей планете, она запросто сможет сорвать с нее атмосферу. По словам ученых, правительство просто скрывает от человечества правду, чтобы не вызывать панику.
Представители всех военных разведок мира эту информацию о том, что Нибиру может принести значительный ущерб, урон, разрушение и даже гибель жителей Земли, имеют. А не разглашается эта информация и не становится достоянием общественности только лишь потому, что НАСА и все эти структуры хотят спасти